This is the Darkside of Muncie, the unsolved murder of Bobby J. Wallace. This episode is based on newspaper reportings, public records, and interviews with the family members and witnesses. No individual mentioned has been convicted in this case. All individuals are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in the court of law. Some details reflect personal memories and experiences, not confirmed facts. This episode is told to honor the victim, not to accuse or speculate. Muncie, Indiana, November 1989. The city was quiet. Thanksgiving was hours away. Families was getting ready for the holidays. But just after midnight, on November 22nd, 1989, everything changed. A man named Bobby J. Wallace was shot and killed. More than 30 years later, his murder remained unsolved. This is not a story about rumors. This is a story about who Bobby was, what his family and witnesses remembered, and the silence that followed. This is the Darkside of Muncie. Now let's focus on who Bobby was. Before Bobby Wallace became a name in a police report, he was a man rooted in everyday life. He wasn't famous. He wasn't powerful. He wasn't looking for trouble. He was someone people trusted. According to his family, Bobby was the kind of person who showed up, even when it wasn't easy. If someone needed help, he helped. If someone had a problem, he listened. He didn't just care in words, he cared in actions. His son, Cody Wallace, described him this way: "I was always told he was a very caring and helpful man. He would give you the shirt off his back. He was also the guy you went to with problems." That reputation didn't come from one moment. It came from years of consistency. The night before Thanksgiving, Teresa Parkinson Balfour, Bobby's sister, remembered speaking to her brother earlier that night. It was the night before Thanksgiving. Bobby called about something simple: family food. He asked Teresa if she was making sweet potatoes with marshmallows. He wanted to be sure. That was Bobby, thinking about home, thinking about family. During that conversation, Bobby mentioned that his close friends, Mark Rogers, had called him. Mark was coming into town and had just gotten a new car. Bobby was excited. He joked with his sister, saying, "You know I'm going to drive it." Teresa laughed and told him, of course he was. That was the last normal conversation she had with her brother. What the family later learned. According to Teresa, there was things the family did not know that night. Later they was told Mark may have owed a drug debt to someone. Teresa said the family believed Mark was being looked for, not Bobby. She was clear about this. They didn't know my brother. They didn't know Mark personally. According to family understandings, Bobby was not the intended target. The final hours. After Mark picked Bobby up, the two men stopped at the home of Bobby's brother, Billy. Billy was married at the time. Teresa said his wife repeatedly encouraged him to leave with Bobby and Mark. But Billy refused. He stayed home. Teresa believed that decision mattered. According to what family later pieced together, Bobby and Mark continued on. At some point, they encountered two men who claimed to be having car trouble. Bobby was the kind of person who would stop and help anyone. According to what Mark later told the family, once the vehicles pulled into the parking lot, the doors opened and the shooting began. Mark ducked down. Bobby was struck multiple times in his chest. Teresa said Mark told him Bobby's final words was, "I think I was shot," and then he died. Nearby, their brother James and Robert, who lived close in the area, heard the gunshots. They went into a nearby store where the cashier told them that Bobby has been shot. When they moved closer to the scene, they saw something unmistakable. They saw Bobby's new work boots. Bobby had shown them off before. That's how they knew. They called Teresa and told her she needed to go to their mother's house. Her mother was there with Timmy, Bobby's brother. Teresa said she told her mother what had happened. As she drove back to 12th Street, Bobby's body was still there. The investigation, and then the silence. Police ruled Bobby's death a homicide. A suspect vehicle was described, a composite sketch was released, but according to the family, the investigation fell quiet. A little too quiet. Teresa said her and Timmy kept asking questions, loudly. She said Billy appeared to have gathered more information than anyone else. He wrote things down. He tracked names. He paid attention. Teresa believed the family was getting too close. She shared that Billy later went to prison for unrelated charges and continued sharing what he knew with her while he was incarcerated. Billy has since passed away. After Bobby was killed, the pain didn't fade with time. For Teresa, it intensified. She said that she began asking questions and sharing what she knew. Something shifted. The world around her no longer felt safe. Conversations felt watched. Normal routines felt exposed. Every step forward came with a sense of risk. Teresa described the growing fear, not just fear for herself, but fear for her family. She said that more information she tried to understand, the more she felt pressure to stop. Not pressure she could point on paper, not something she could prove, but a heavy feeling that stayed with her day and night. According to Teresa, there was moments she believed her phone was being monitored. She said she felt followed at times. These were not claims she could confirm, but the fear itself was real. So one moment that felt pretty odd that Teresa spoke about during the interview I had with her, she said her and her mother went to a bar called the Roots Hotel. So at the bar they came so they can listen to music and have a couple of drinks. Then she saw Billy's ex-wife. Her mother was like, there she is, there she is. Teresa was like, don't worry. About an hour later, two men approached them, offered to buy drinks. While they was talking, Teresa's mother started telling the two men about what happened to Bobby. One of the men claimed to be a DEA agent from a different state. He showed what appeared to be a badge. Teresa said she do not know who that man truly was. She said later she handed over paperwork containing information her brother Billy had gathered. The man said he will return. He never did. To this day, there has never been any public confirmation that this man was a federal agent or that the evidence was officially collected. But Teresa said the fear was real and it changed her life. She made a decision to stop investigating, not because she didn't care, but because she had children and was afraid. Teresa spoke about Babette Upchurch, the mother of Bobby's children. She said Babette and Bobby had argued that night. Words were said in anger, words she never meant. After Bobby was killed, Teresa said Babette was consumed by grief and guilt. She was never the same. Babette passed away in 2009. Mark Rogers, who survived the shooting, carried the pain for the rest of his life. According to her family, he never healed from losing Bobby either. Mark passed away in 2025. Say his name. Before the story ends, we pause. Not for rumors, not for theories, not for silence, but for the man at the center of all of it. Say his name. Bobby J. Wallace. He was a father, a brother, a son, a friend. He was the man people went to when they needed help. The man who would give you the shirt off his back. The man who showed up. He mattered His life mattered, his family mattered, and the truth about what happened to him still matters. Say his name, not as a headline, not as a case number, but as a human being whose life was taken too soon. Bobby J. Wallace. Let his name be remembered until justice speaks. Before we end, I want to speak directly to you. Not as a narrator, not as a host, but as someone who spent a while inside this case. This was not an easy story to tell. I went down a deep rabbit hole with this one. Rumors, theories, thousands of newspaper articles, conflicting accounts, silence where there should have been answers. There was moments when I questioned whether I should even continue. While researching, I came across old newspaper articles showing the city government of Muncie facing charges of corruption during this era. That alone raised questions for me. Not accusations, but just questions. And when I spoke with Bobby family, especially Teresa, she warned me. She told me this was probably a case I wouldn't want to cover. Not because it didn't matter, but because this city has a history of not taking kindly to outsiders asking hard questions. So I want to be clear about this part. I am not saying I have proof of corruption. I am not accusing anyone of a crime. What I am saying is this. After speaking with family, after reading decades of coverages, after seeing how quietly this case faded, I personally believe something failed here. Whether it was a lack of resources, a lack of urgency, or something else. What I do know is that Bobby Wallace's case deserved way more attention than it received. This case is more than 30 years old now. Many of the people who was in power at the time are retired, and most have passed away. Time has moved on, but the truth still hasn't surfaced. That's why I chose to tell this story. Not to accuse, not to sensationalize, but to let people know that the family is still searching for answers. That silence only protects the unknown. I am personally invested in helping this family find information the right way. If you know something about what happened to Bobby J. Wallace, do not message me privately with accusations. The right place for the information is local law enforcement. That's where it belongs. Sometimes all it takes is one person deciding that it's time to speak. Not out of fear, not out of loyalty to the past, but out of respect for the truth. And after all these years, I believe Bobby Wallace deserved that chance. My name is Darius Nefarious, and this is The Darkside of Muncie.